welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go over my labor and delivery story. I had him about 3 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks now, and I just wanted to tell you my story. I was scheduled for an induction for April 26th, and I was to be at the hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning. So for me, my previous pregnancies, I had water breaks and I just went in. So this was kind of odd that I wasn't in labor and I was walking into labor and delivery, and I just was just normal, like no contractions or anything. It was just kind of, it felt weird, it felt different. But what they did to me first is they hooked me up to an IV, and the nurse that gave me my IV, I still have a bump on my hand. I think it's just, I don't know if it's because she damaged my vein or not, but it's still very, very tender, and we are going on 4 weeks now. So I never had that situation happen. But anyways, they hooked me up to an IV, and I was there at 5 o'clock in the morning. They didn't give me my Pitocin until after 7 in the morning, because there was like 3 other deliveries going on at the time I came in. So they had a lot going on, and they were short on staff. So I did a lot of waiting around, but that was fine. It kind of helped with my nerves a little bit. And so when they started Pitocin, I didn't actually start feeling contractions until probably about 2 hours in, and I started feeling them. I was in labor for 7 hours, and I ended up getting the epidural. But of course, like my first pregnancy or my first delivery, the epidural didn't work. It only worked on my left side, not my right side. So I was in pain the whole entire 7 hours, or 5 hours, I guess, since it took about 2 hours for my labor to actually hit, our contractions to get strong. So for 5 hours, I was feeling the contractions, and they were horrible, horrible. And I had SPD, which is, I'll put, I can't remember exactly what it is, but I'll put it down here of what the name is, what it stands for. But basically my pelvic bones were apart, and it was probably my 3rd trimester is when it started happening, and I was in a lot of pain. I always thought it was my round ligament, but once I realized that this isn't like my second labor or my second pregnancy where it was just my round ligament, this was extremely painful, where they call it lightning crotch. It's basically if your bones shift or whatever, it feels like lightning bolts going down there. So it was very painful, and it was hard to walk, it was hard to move. I couldn't sleep. I had to sleep upright. I couldn't lay down and sleep. I couldn't lay on my side and sleep. It was just, it's very, very painful. So anyways, I had that going on. So when the epidural was in, I still felt that pain on my right side. So what the nurse wanted me to do was lay on my right side, and I explained to her that it's very painful for me to do that, and she said that once the epidural kicks in, that it should be fine. So we maneuvered my body to the right side, and she had me put my left leg in the little sternum thing. And so I knew right when I lifted my leg that this is going to be a bad idea, because I already was starting to feel the pain. And it wasn't like extremely bad at that time, but I knew I was going to regret it, and sure enough, I regretted it. I ended up having to call the nurse to let her know that I'm in pain and I need to move my leg down. And this new nurse that came in, I don't know, I hadn't seen her before, and she just came in with an attitude. She was kind of rude, and she was like, what's the problem? And I was like, I explained to her and I was having pain, and she was like, well, they put you on that side for the epidural to work. And like, she was just giving me attitude, and I was like explaining to her that I'm in pain and that it's not working, that the epidural is not moving to the right side at all. So anyways, I ended up getting my husband, because she walked out. I ended up getting my husband to help me move my leg down. And so it took a minute actually for him to actually do it, because it hurt really bad. Anyways, the epidural never worked. So the anesthesiologist had to come back in. He removed the the line in my spine, and he redid the epidural. And by that time, it was time for me to push. So it was kind of pointless for him to even come in and redo it, because it was time for me to push. So basically, I pushed him out in 3 pushes, and he was my fastest labor, and it was all kinds of emotions. I'll try to put some pictures here. I had my husband take some pictures and also video. So we weren't allowed to record during labor, but right after, he was able to record, and it was very special. Like meeting him for the first time, and I was just overwhelmed with joy and excitement. And he's such an easy baby. He only cries when he's gassy and when he's hungry. Other than that, he's a really good baby. Really, really easygoing. Just like Grayson was my first. He was very easygoing baby. But yes, we named him. It took us forever to find a name, and we ended up not naming him until he was a day old. So we ended up naming him Luke Matthews. And Luke, because we both like the name Luke, and then Matthews is named after my husband's grandmother's maiden name. Her maiden name is Matthews. So that's where he got that name. We were throwing a bunch of different names around, and I might do a video on the boy names that we were thinking of. But yeah, the boys love him. They're always, every day when he wakes up, they always say good morning to him, and that they love him, and they always give him hugs and kisses and want to hold him. Anytime he cries, they run over to him, and they try to comfort him, which is very, very sweet. And I love watching them love him. It makes me emotional. I don't want to cry, but it does. It's very reassuring and very it's okay. And it's very touching to watch them be such good big brothers, and I'm so proud of them for that. They're really good with him, and they love him so much. So, but anyways, I feel like I'm just chatting now, so I don't want to make this video too long, but I just wanted to let you know that we have welcomed Luke Matthews into the family. And if you want to meet him, he's sleeping, but I will show you. There you go. See? Say hello. Hello. He's got the little double chin. Yeah. I think he looks like a mixture of both my boys. So I just can't wait to see what his personality is going to be like, because Grayson's very very energetic, and Noah's very he's like a comedian. So I'm curious to see what Luke's going to be. But anyways, alright, until next time, we'll talk to you later. Say bye. Bye bye.